Okay, listen very carefully. So, you have to understand something, right? I have just as much a problem with science as I have with violent rap. Let me repeat that. I have just as much problem with science as I have with violent rap. Now, let me tell you the problem with science, right? You got to excuse my device because I left my other device. Hell, actually, I don't even know where it's at. Okay? So, listen. I have a problem with science just as much as I have a problem with violent rap. Okay? Now, we're going to get right into this, right? Just like people slander me, right? Many of you whom are highly concerned, many of you who are constantly in either my business or anyone else's business. The problem with truth and lies is, in many cases, you have to pick out the bones, right? Like from the fish, or shall I say you have to spit out the bones. I don't know, what's the term? Pick out the bones or spit out the bones, whatever the case. So, but this is not about me. This is about science, right? So now, I want to ask anybody, what is the issue here? Okay? Okay? Do you want to have to pick out the bones? Right? Or do you want to have to spit out the bones? So you have to determine what's truth in science and what's not truth, or what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. So this is going to be a small version, this message, but I'm going to bring a bigger and better version. I really haven't had time to study, I'm telling y'all. And I hate telling you all that because, you know, I'm a poor man, right? So many of you are trying to figure out, well, how is a poor man so busy? Just a minute, let me change my location here. Well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to get right next to somebody real quick. About the street, let me go walk in the middle of the road. Some people don't make sense. Where was I at? What is it that you want? You just pulled up in front of me and then you just stayed there and then you're pulling off.
I see.
Huh?
I see when you're coming back.
No, I'm just trying to figure out because you just pulled up. Nobody got out of your car or nothing. What do you want? It's Wednesday. You know what I mean? All right, so we have to determine what is true and what is false in science. Now, this is not going to be a long message, okay? Like I said, I hate to bring y'all, I really hate to do this. I started just not to bring them up. That's really why I said I was coming tomorrow. I should have just came tomorrow like I said I was going to do. But I got, my mayor's got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Just other stuff. You know what I'm saying? My wife got a situation with her mother coming up. That's Friday, but there's preparations got to be for that, right? I don't like giving my business out, right? My mom's on psychological meds. Her mom's on psychological meds. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, really, the beginning of the year is always like this for us. You know what I'm saying? Because certain specific yearly doctor visits, every 6-month doctor visits, quarterly doctor visits, but that's just a small thing. There's just other stuff that we got going on as well. That just like every other family, we're not doing anything else any different than everybody else, right? Only difference is we're poor. You all are rich, right? That's the only difference. But other than that, our life is just like everybody else. This and that and this, that and this, right? So, this message, no, I don't like throwing garbage out there, okay? And I would not like to think that this message is garbage, okay? But it's certainly not the best of the message. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out a better version of this message. I know I got a lot of messages that I say that I want to bring to you all. And it's at this point where some of you really like to hear the knowledge that I'm giving through the scriptures. Some of you really like to hear it. Some of you like to hear the word of God. And many of you will say that I'm not consistent enough, that you don't hear me enough. Okay? Those things are going to change, but just of right now, you know, I owe it to, you know, certain people to just go ahead and just, you know, do some of the things that I have to do, right? So, in any event, though, I'm still keeping my promise to you all. I promised 2 messages a week, right? So, I'm still juggling that, and I'm still delivering, okay? So, maybe this message won't be as bad as I said it's going to be, and I can give you another short message along with it as well, which will make 2 messages, okay? So I have been doing some research on and off, but just not as much as I would like to, right? So now, I want to read you all a little something from science, okay? I forgot where I got the article from. Online, you can verify the information, right? And I'm thinking of something. Let me take down a couple notes real quick. Okay, what is this message titled? I don't know right now. When I post it on the gram, it'll have a title. Okay? Now, I want you all to pay attention to this message because I have a fit out for science. It's just as much as I have a fit out for violent rap. Okay? I think both are extremely foolish and both are extremely confrontational to the truth and to who we are as a people and what we should stand for. And the knowledge that was given to some of our forefathers, this knowledge I'm sharing with you all this evening. Now, once again, this is a very small message, and I'm going to do whenever, I don't know. I'm probably going to try to do this sooner than later. a better message in reference to this, okay? With more information, more scriptures, so forth and so forth. But I do have a little bit of scriptures. I've also have some scriptures from a lost scroll, the scroll of Moses. We're not talking about the Torah. We're talking about a different scroll of Moses that's going to go hand in hand with the book of Enoch. So a lot of people, they don't believe in the book of Enoch. Damn, it's blazing in here. They don't believe in the book of Enoch. Let some air in here, right? But what they don't, I don't need that, right? But what they don't understand is that the book of Enoch has other books that coincide with it, okay? Like the Apocalypse of Moses, the Scroll of Moses. And we're not talking about the Torah, right? Some books, some things that are in the Scroll of Jubilees, right? Some things that are in the Bible, some things that are in Genesis. These things also agree with the book of Enoch. But let me read you all something according to science real fast. And remember when I told you. Now, as I read this, I want you all out there to, as I'm reading this, to try to spit out the bones that don't make sense. Okay? Y'all think y'all can do that for me? All right. Now it's too cold. So we'll try to spit out the bones that don't make sense, okay? So here we go. Pangaea existed about 240. Now, not to cut it off, remember, not all of this is true. Some of it's true. But see, that's what happens when you're dealing with science, okay? That's what happened. That's what I forgot to do. That's why I have to redo this message. But nonetheless, just to bring you all something tonight, let me put notes down on that. That's what I meant to put down. Okay? But I have to prove that to you all, though. So, okay. So, I'm going to read a passage from science, okay? You can go online and get this information, right? It's very simple. Any scientific information you can go online and get. Pangaea existed about, or do you pronunciate it Pangea? I'm going to say Pangaea. Pangaea existed about 240 million years ago. Remember, try to separate the truth from the lies. Let's see where y'all at with this. Pangaea existed 240 million years ago. By about 200 million years ago, this supercontinent began breaking up. So it's saying here that Pangaea was a supercontinent. It existed 240 million years ago. In other words, I guess they're trying to say that's when it originated. And about 200 million years ago, so 40 million years later, 200 million years ago, Pangaea began to break up over millions of years. So over the course of millions of years, science is saying that Pangaea had begun to break up into the continents that we see today. Pangaea separated into pieces that moved away from one another. These pieces slowly assumed their positions as the continents that we recognize today, okay? Try to pick out the bones, try to pick out what's true, and try to pick out what's false. Today, scientists think that several supercontinents like Pangaea have formed and broken up over the course of the Earth's lifespan. These include Pannotia, which formed about 600 million years ago, and Rodinia, which existed more than 1 billion years ago. Tectonic activity. Okay? Now, remember what I told you so tectonic activity. Once again, pick out what's true, pick out the bones. Pick out what's true, pick out what's false. Sometimes, scientists did not accept Wegener's theory of continental drift. What was Wegener's theory? Wegener was a scientist. Other scientists disagreed with Wegener of his theory, because remember, science is only a theory. And we must remember what I told you, what science does. Science is merely an attempt to explain divinity. That's all it is. I've been saying this for a while. Once again, science is merely an attempt to explain divinity. Okay? And it says, so other scientists didn't agree with Wegener. This is what Wegener thought. Wegener thought that the continents, or so-called this Pangaea, and these other supercontinents, Wegener's thought process, or his theory was, that because of the Earth's rotation, allegedly, that's why the continents broke up. Now, let me stop there for a minute. Okay, let me finish reading the passage, because that's some stupid shit, right? See, this is why I keep trying to tell you all. And see, people get mad at me. Now, you got scientists. I got people. Listen, I'm going to start showing y'all I know I got a lot of things to prove to y'all. I got to prove to y'all these spies. I got to prove to y'all some of the things that come in my DMs. Like, listen, to all you scientists out there, don't listen, you're the fool, okay? The only wisdom is the wisdom of Christ, not your foolishness, okay? Don't get angry with me, right? But I'm going to come back to that. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to come back to, right? So it says, one of the elements lacking in the theory was the mechanism for how it works. Why did the continents drift, and what patterns did they follow? Wegener suggested that perhaps the rotation of the Earth, so he's telling you right here, caused Wegener, W-E-G-E-N-E-R. W-E-G-E-N-E-R. Wegener suggested that perhaps the so-called rotation of the Earth caused the continents to shift towards and apart from each other. Today, we know that the continents rest on massive slabs of rock called tectonic plates. The plates are always moving, interacting in a process called plate tectonics. The continents are still moving today. Some of the most dynamic sites of tectonic activity are seafloor or ocean floor spreading zones and giant rift valleys. In the process of seafloor spreading, molten rock rises from within the earth and adds new seafloor oceanic crust. In the process of seafloor spreading, molten rock rises from within the earth and adds new seafloor to the edges of the old seafloor. To the edges of the old. Seafloor spreading is most dynamic along giant underwater mountains. Ranges known as mid-ocean ridges. Okay, so I'm not going to read that again. I read it once. But now, let me tell you Wegener, however you pronunciate his name. Wegener believes, listen to how stupid this is. I want y'all to pay attention, okay? First of all, I have a problem with the word drift. Once again, I have a problem with the word drift. D as in Dave, Aura, I, F as in Frank, T as in Tom. I have a problem with the word drift, okay? Continents don't drift. To drift is something that is actually like floating. Not exactly the same thing. Not exactly the same thing. Floating literally would mean something that's moving atop water. But drift can mean similarly can mean the similar, okay, or drift has the similitude of floating, but it can also mean something just separating as well. But how foolish was Wegener to believe? Now, let me say this. How foolish, because see a lot of things race in my head. How foolish was Wegener to believe that the continents separated, or this one huge massive body that scientists proclaim Pangaea, it's separated because of the so-called rotation of the planet. So if first of all, this planet's not rotating, it's dead still, okay? That's number one. I haven't completely proved that, but I can. I just didn't feel like it. But for the most part, I made a very valid point, standing on common sense and standing on some scriptures. But I can easily prove that the planet is at a stalemate, right? But that's for another time. Now, why would he think that? So if that means the rotation of the Earth was powerful enough to do that, so why don't we feel it? See, this is what makes you all upset. Because all I simply do is use common sense. I'm from the streets. I don't need big-ass words to think. See, stop letting this construct, this scholastic construct, and so-called wisdom of the Caucasians. And this is not a hit and blow at all the Caucasians, because some of you use your common sense, but a lot of you don't. And many of you that are in science, you don't either. Now, I understand, well, let's move forward. Okay? So, I need you all to understand something here. Why don't we feel it if the rotation of the Earth is strong enough to separate continents? I'm just saying. Okay, why do I make these messages? Yo, man, why is you talking about this? You always have to remember something. I say what I want, how I want to say it, when I want to say it. I'm not subjected to what's cool. I'm not subjected to what's in. I'm not subjected to any of you Negroes. I'm not subjected to any of you Caucasians. I'm not subjected to any of you Arabs. I'm not subjected to any of you Chinese people. I'm not subjected to any one of you on this planet. I'm not even subjected to the demons. I'm only subjected to Christ. I will talk about what I want to talk about, when I want to talk about, and how I want to talk about it. And if it's not cool, and if it's not in, and if it's not gangster, then remember, the very easy thing for you to do is not come to my page and not come to my YouTube channel. It's just that simple. Why am I making this message? Because I want you to believe in the scriptures. This is not because I want to talk about Pangaea. It's not because I want to talk about the ocean floor. It's not because I want to talk about the earth spinning. It's not because I enjoy speaking about science, which I did enjoy. When I was young, I did enjoy science. But as I got older, I just started to understand the foolishness of science. So here you go. This man was supposed to be so intelligent, Wegener, so smart, but yet he forgot that there was billions of people on this planet that didn't feel a rotation strong enough to separate rock, large land masses of rock. How stupid is that? See, let me repeat that. This is a guy with a doctorate, a scientific degree, whatever degree he has, at the highest level, right? But he didn't have the common sense to think that it made no sense because the billions of people on the planet did not feel a rotation or do not feel a rotation so powerful that it can separate large land masses. But yet we can walk around every day like it's nothing. No falling over, no getting dizzy, no nothing. A large planet could spin like a basketball at thousands of miles per hour, so-called, and move around the sun in a so-called 24-hour 24-hour period. Nobody feels nothing. You wake up, go to school, go to work, go to play sports, exercise, eat, swim, drink, laugh, have sex. We do all of these things every day and we don't feel shit. We don't feel nothing. But this rotation is strong enough to separate huge body or huge land masses of rock. Now, that's the information that I forgot to get from the scriptures, because that science article also said that Pangaea is over 240 million years old. Now, I need you all to listen to something very carefully to what I'm about to explain to you all. This planet is only about 8,000 years old. This planet is only 8,000 years old. Science has lied to you all. Listen. Now, I'm not going to elaborate on this too much. Why? Because I forgot to pull the scriptures to prove this. I got some heavy hitters. Not just scriptures that are in the regular Bible, but I got some law scroll heavy hitters. Heavy hitters. Okay? Heavy hitters, man. Okay? That's going to prove that this planet is under 10,000 years old. This planet is not even 8,000 years old yet. I can drag my nuts and say that with authority. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something, right? I'm not going to elaborate on that because that's what I wrote down. That's what I forgot to say. But I can tell you all can do as much research as you want to. Okay? I don't care what science tells you. They're lying. Science is lying through their teeth. They talking out their ass. This planet is not even 240 million. This planet is not even 10,000 years old. Dinosaurs, that's why they call it prehistoric. Because it's supposed to be prior to history. So they can't really explain it. All they can do is explain, well, wait a minute, dog. Wait a minute, man. They found fossils and bones of dinosaurs. I didn't say that dinosaurs didn't exist. I said they didn't exist 65 million years ago like they told you they existed. And a comet, and they weren't destroyed by a comet. You will never see a comet hit the planet like that. But that's a different lesson. Okay? Dinosaurs weren't what you thought they were. Okay? Dinosaurs were creatures that were, okay, nothing to hear here and nothing to see here. Y'all just not ready for that. You're just not going to believe that. Why? Because you all operate on such a low frequency. I'll be right back.